Awesome. Well, let's get this party started. My next guest on the Lax Goalie Rap podcast is a national champ. It's Virginia goalie Alex Rode. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, first of all, congrats on the national championship. That must have been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Very fortunate to have the opportunity to play on that stage and get lucky enough to win it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll talk quite a bit more about that game as we get into this chat. But going all the way back to the beginning, do you remember the very first time you jumped into goal?
Yeah, probably when I was around fourth or third grade. I just stepped into goal kind of because we needed someone to hop in, and it was kind of fun at first. I didn't love it, but I kind of made my dad mad because he wanted me to play biddy. So I just kind of stuck in there and did it, and kind of enjoyed it from that.
Yeah. I always have this theory that there's only three reasons why people become lacrosse goalies, and you are, the team needed a goalie. That's an option right there. And some people just run with it. That's pretty fun. And most people's parents don't like them at first becoming a goalie because it's just like, they have all those feelings. That sounds like that was your dad, right?
Yeah, my dad actually played the game way long ago when Frostburg still had a D3 team. So he just did think of it as a savory position for athletically. So I actually played midfield and didn't really switch full time to goalie till about sixth grade. But Coach Rick Mercado at St. Paul's kind of told me that was what I was going to be better at. That's what I was going to do. So kind of was just that. It just kind of matriculated like that.
Interesting. What do you think he saw in you that, what qualities did he see in you that made you a good goalie?
I was pretty raw at the start. I guess I just had I had pretty quick hands relative, and I was just willing to play it and enjoyed it. So I think that's what he saw. I don't really know. Because I definitely was raw at the start. I still have issues with certain parts of the goalie position. So maybe just kind of quick hands and then just kind of being willing to sit in there.
Yeah. Awesome. So how did you go about learning how to make saves? Was it, was with at St. Paul the first time you got a taste of real goalie coaching, or was there something before that?
No, actually, I was fortunate that my young rec team, we must have been fifth grade, was coached by all the Loyola college graduates that played there. We had 3 Loyola college graduates. I think one was still there playing. They were living locally. And they actually connected me with a guy named Trey Rogers, who played at Loyola College. And he actually was my goalie coach from that grade all the way into probably my sophomore, junior year at college. And we still talk every so often. So he was instrumental in helping me learn the game. And then around sixth grade, my club coach was JJ Pearl, who was a Penn State legend. And he also helped out a lot. So I kind of got very lucky with good goalie coaching from a very young age.
Yeah, that's the beauty of growing up in Baltimore, huh? Lacrosse hotbed. You got so many great universities in the area, and just a lot of lacrosse and a lot of lacrosse goalie minds. So that's pretty cool to hear. What would you say they taught you, right? At the very beginning, are you just learning the basics, stance, positioning, or are you even learning something else?
Yeah, at the very start, I was young. So it's stance, positioning, pointing your feet towards the shooter, everything that you would teach a goalie anywhere in the country at the lowest level. And then also from there, it really wasn't I was good with my hands, but my steps were issues. So I learned a new step and just kind of learning different styles, trying to see what works for you. And then Trey was really good at teaching me what works for me. So I really played a flat base as I got older and did steps. So it really and that's why it's really important to find a coach that meshes with you at your style, because really every coach is a different one, and it just worked out. But really just stance and positioning. And then I would say probably next was steps.
Yeah.
Basics.
I was going to ask what is the style that you ultimately ended up with or playing with right now? So you mentioned kind of playing a flat arc. What else goes into your style?
So my style transformed a lot when I got to the college level. So in high school, I played super flat. I did only side steps pretty much. And then when I got to college, I played really flat still. But since we were on Clockner and the bounces, I had to move a couple steps up just to mitigate those bounces. And then I kind of went from playing an extremely side step to I did not move diagonal or out, but just a little more. I would say probably about stepping about 7 inches higher, just attacking it a little more. Then not doing biggest steps. I used to fish like right at the top of crease a lot, and I just kind of minimized those steps and became a little less dramatic in what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how, your goalie game morphs, which it has to, right? Like as you get to these higher and higher levels, or even as you change as an athlete, like the style that you used, sixth grade or junior high or high school might not work for you. And it's so interesting to me that goalie styles morph, and it sounds like you were the same.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I think even they morph in a season because most of goalies just like being there mentally, and like if it's something's not working, it's not like you're switching everything, but a little switch could just mentally get you there and like make you more ready for a game. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of going on throughout the different weeks and what people are seeing. And also throughout a long college season, you're going to develop bad habits. It's just bound to happen. So breaking those back down and your form might not be the same as where you started.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. I was talking with one goalie and he said, like, we were talking about how advantageous it is to try different things, if only to realize that, hey, that stance that this goalie uses, that's not for me. Right. So now I can be more confident in the fact that I am playing the right way for me. So it's just, there's tons of benefits of trying new things in goal.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely looking at our goalies and trying their things because I always struggled with consistency throughout a season, like the season wears. So trying new things for me would always help. Maybe this will help me be a little more consistent or help me like get back on my game. So I just thought that was good. And then also just looking at the other goalies they're playing and watching what they're doing and see maybe even being like that's not what I'm going to do, but that's really cool and that's how they're making the saves.
Yeah. One of the things I notice in your stance is the top hand, it's out. It's kind of like, pointed forward. And I assume that's kind of like, built-in mechanism so that if your hands kind of come back in a little bit when the shot happens, which is pretty natural as a goalie, like your natural movement is to come back in, you're in a perfect position. Is that what?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I definitely, by the end of some of the times in my career, I was out a little too much. I just liked having that hand a little bit out if there was that delay, but also because it just felt like you weren't moving from such a longer distance. Like stick side high, you could just move a couple inches over. Then also, I thought it allowed you to really punch off. But I mean, that's something I did, but that's not necessarily something I would teach the goalies I coach because
Mhm.
it could come off bad form and stuff. So that was something that would develop as the season went on. And there'd be times where Kip would have me bring it in a little more. So I really liked it, but it's not necessarily something I would coach the goalies I coach.
I'm mixed. I mean, I've coached goalies that, like, I've seen, when you break down tape, like their hand at the time of release is like so in. It's like, hey, let's try to like put it, your top hand I'm talking about, put it out a little bit. And then when the shot comes, you're actually in a great position. So I don't coach it for all, but I've coached some goalies on that.
I think the key if you're doing that is to have that bottom hand not out with it.
Yeah.
So you're because that's like that. I've had goalies where I tell them to put it down, they'll put both hands out. But keeping that bottom hand like back in, allowing you to really get to the balls, I think is huge. I think if you're going to play with that hand out, you have to have that bottom hand retracted.
Yeah. I've seen some goalies play like that's their stance where like the bottom hand is kind of like elbow locked. And that's never been for me. Like, I don't like that. It doesn't feel very athletic. And to that point, like you're not out like locked at the elbow, which is totally not athletic. It's out extended, but still with an athletic bend and ready to move. So
Yeah.
I like it. Who are the goalies that, I mean, you mentioned a couple coaches, that you learned from early on, but some of the goalies that, you really watched play and learn from.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Baltimore area where like you really watch like a lot of high school lacrosse. So, like when I was growing up, the goalie at St. Paul's were like Harry Krieger and Gunnar Wald. Like Harry played at Harvard and he was a super athletic goalie, and then Gunnar played at Bryant. So he was just really like steady, had a like couple amazing years there. I guess at the college level, it would have been like it would have. I'm trying to think. It was really high school, and then like I remember watching like Dan Loftus at Duke. I always liked like really athletic goalies. And then probably would have been like I was a Maryland fan at the time, so I really liked like Brian Phipps was really cool at all those seasons at Maryland. So kind of like that.
Mhm.
Those goalies were cool, but I definitely like watching the St. Paul's growing up. Goalies were really like fun to watch, and it was cool. But yeah, probably Brian Phipps was definitely really cool to watch in those playoff runs in Maryland.
Awesome. Yeah, he's an awesome guy as well. Gunnar Walt went to St. Paul. I didn't know that. So I've had him on the show. So you're going to be the fourth St. Paul goalie. I had Bacigalupo, AJ, Gunnar, and then yourself. So quite a string of St. Paul high school goalies we got on the show here. What is it? What is it? Do you think about St. Paul that produces such great goalies?
I mean, there's really great goalie coaching. I mean, on the staff, they have Mitch Whiteley, who's like a legend at coaching goalies, and they also have Kevin Benzing, who played at Quinnipiac, is I consider one of the best goalie coaches in Maryland. And then I don't know, I guess there is a draw to St. Paul's, like being a goalie, like looking at the lineage, like it goes way back. Like talk about like Bacigalupo is considered one of the best of all time. And then in recent years, there's been some pretty good ones. I mean, they have a couple of goalies that are younger than me. They're at Marquette now, and the ones going Loyola. I mean, it just goes back forever. The goalie coaching there is just really second to none. I mean, it was very rare in a staff of high school where we had an actual goalie coach. And then we had a couple at my time. I remember Jake Byrne was the goalie coach for a little bit with Benzing on the staff. So it's really just fortunate and great coaching. And then I really think also like the testament to St. Paul's is a lot of kids get there in the younger years. So I went there from pre-first on. So you get that goalie coaching throughout your entire life. So where like I guess kids at our school, so I'd be in sixth grade having a D1 goalie already, like being my head coach of the sixth grade team, and I think that was really fortunate and speak testaments of the coaching and the tradition of St. Paul's lacrosse.
Yeah, I love it. Not only are you it's such an amazing opportunity because not only are you getting like the coaching, it's just like it's also like the mentorship too, right? Like I'm sure in working with these D1 goalies. I mean, I remember I grew up playing basketball. And I went to like a high school camp, a camp that the high school was putting on. And I just love these guys. Like just being able to hang out with high schoolers got me so like motivated and inspired, in addition to all the cool stuff I was learning, all the technique. Was that kind of the case for you where you felt really motivated working with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Like you would go to like St. Paul's camp every summer, and like the high school guys would be coaching it, or like even just walking the hallways, like you had like big buddies in the high school or whatever. So it was just definitely a really cool community to be a part of it. Like I was very fortunate to be a part of it. And it just like, it was cool because you went to, as a lower schooler, like you would get off early to go to all the games. So, and like you would never miss a game. So it's just that idea of like one day I could be doing this if I like work hard enough.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's motivation. What would you say is your favorite part about being a lacrosse goalie, Alex?
I guess it's like kind of what me and Kip always joke about. Like you could either be the hero or the ass. And like it's kind of like the game has a big part of like that, and that pressure like definitely makes the game fun.
Yeah. I love that. Gotta be the hero or the ass. Let's be the hero,
Yeah,
huh?
and it's drive to do that, and it's just a great position. It's also like you like a lot of people like attack it, like they're all unit, but you're kind of on your own, but you're also a part of the D unit. Like you're a big part of
Yeah.
it. And I really just love that draw of the position, like the pressure. I mean, I won't lie, at times it's not fun. And when you're playing bad, it's definitely not an enjoyable position to be in because as every goalie knows, you're gonna have bad days. It's just bound to happen.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, so, you start to have some success in high school. Like at what point do you start to think about Division I lacrosse?
So I like was in a really weird position. I committed to UVA as a freshman back when the recruiting world was kind of a disaster. I mean, I committed and I think it was 14 or 15. St. Paul's had very good goalies. So AJ and Hunter Pearl were both going and a couple others. So I played JV my freshman year. So sophomore, my sophomore year I was on varsity. I was behind AJ, and like so I guess it definitely lingered. Like, we'll see if I'm actually good enough. Like, never know until you actually get into the varsity game. And then my junior year I did okay, and I was like, okay, maybe I will be able to play at the level that I'm supposed to be. But it's just sticking with it. But I mean, it was just a crazy time in the recruiting process when I was playing that JV players were already going. I think we had our JV team, like 2 kids going to Furman, 1 Air Force, and are going to Hopkins.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I'm glad they changed that rule because that's a big decision to make when you're so young, 14 years old, about where you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life. It's or not even the next 4. The next 4 years of your life are in high school. Where you're going to spend the next 4 years after that.
yeah,
So
it was
I'm glad.
definitely weird.
Yeah. And then how did they recruit you? It's pretty much all based on like your club experience.
Yeah, it was all club circuit in that fall. So it'd just be club circuit, and they reach out to your coaches and at like the high school coaches and ask if they're any good. I know it's like a funny joke. He probably won't hear this, but Mitch Whiteley got called by Dom Starsia. Dom Starsia asked about me, and Mitch Whiteley's like, he's a freshman. I'd never seen him play. Like I couldn't even tell you.
Where's the hookup? Where's
But he's like just how it should be because you can't give false. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
due to
Uh,
the
um, well, it was a good decision, right? It ended up working out. I'm sure. I'm sure. Talk a little bit about your experience of getting to Virginia in the recruiting process. Did you meet Kip Turner, by the way, who I've had on the show? Elite goalie. Did you meet Kip at that point, or did he come on later?
I wasn't recruited by Kip or Lars. I was actually fortunate enough to be recruited by Dom Starsia and Owen, Coach Van Arsdale, and they were the ones that got me to UVA. And I mean, Coach Van Arsdale and Coach Starsia are amazing, and really like just got us there. And like I was so excited to go. And then when they left and Lars took over and Kip came in, I got to meet Kip a little bit and Lars, and it really liked Kip and Lars, so it was a good fit. But I really have to thank Coach Van Arsdale and Coach Starsia for being the ones that got me to UVA and allowed me to have the opportunity.
Got it. Got it. What was it about UVA that you like so much?
I mean, it was just historic, and it was like one of the biggest sort of programs. But I kind of wanted to get out of state of Maryland, and being from St. Paul's, there was a long line of people that have gone there to play at UVA. So that was like a big draw for me. And then, I mean, the academics were really like second to none how the places I could go. And it seemed like a good fit because it was like a bigger size school than I was used to, but it wasn't too big. And then my dad had buddies play at UVA. Like I had known older kids. They were just like, you really can't go wrong there. Like look there. And I made the commitment and never really looked back, to be honest.
Yeah. Awesome. If there was a high school or maybe even a junior high kid listening to this right now, what advice would you give them on the recruiting process? I know you went through a different sort of process, but what advice would you give them?
Just be open to any option. Like it's amazing where people go and think they're going to like it and don't like it. And then people go to other schools and they're questioning it and they love it. Like just be open to anything and enjoy the process. Don't let it stress you out too much, even though it is stressful, but be open to anything. I had buddies that go to some schools that were notorious for people loving it and they hated it. And I had buddies that went to much smaller schools at the D3, D2 level, and they loved it. They were like buddies that went down to Florida and surfed every day and still played good lacrosse. So there's a lot of great options out there, and never like be too upper brow or like roll your eyes to an option.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I mean, I played in the MCLA. I had an amazing experience. And that could be a great option for a lot of goalies. There's D1, there's D2, there's D3, there's MCLA. So, be open to different options. I know a lot of people have their hearts set on D1 programs, but oftentimes you can have an amazing experience, where you're playing and you're surfing and you're at a great academic university and you still get to play lacrosse. So I think there's a lot of great options out there.
Yeah, I would really definitely harp on that. That's something I tell the kids I coach down here.
Yeah. Awesome. What kind of, how would you describe your leadership style? Are you like a real loud vocal goalie? Are you sort of a strong silent type? What's your leadership style?
I'm definitely more of a backseat guy. I was never a captain at UVA. I was good at talking to defenses and helping out here and there, but I definitely didn't have most of the control. Kyle Kologi was more the mouthpiece. Leadership in general, I'm definitely more of like silent guy. I feel like I would hope that anyone could come to me with anything, but I'm definitely not giving the pump up speeches before the games or being the one to talk after practice. Just wasn't my style and wasn't necessarily what I felt I needed to be on the team. Like everyone has a part, and we had more than enough guys that were much more capable of doing that than me. So
yeah. That's important to hear for the young goalies out there, because I think a lot of times goalies think that because of the nature of the position, like I have to be this team leader. And a lot are, and if that's you, great. And if that's not you and you have other people on your team who can fulfill that role better than you, then great, like be you, right? So I think that's a really important message to hear.
Yeah, I think like you could go either way. Just being, you gotta be like the emotional debt carrier for the team. Like you can't really crumble or fold. You just gotta be there for everyone and just stay cool and calm. Like you could be the big leader, you could be the silent, but you have to stay cool and calm when stuff's breaking down.
Yeah. How do you do that, Alex?
I'm pretty like even keeled person. So for me, it wasn't terrible, but just knowing I always have like, there's a next play, there's another game. Like then knowing in the end of the day, it's a great game, but it is just a game. Like, and then having stuff outside of lacrosse that makes you happy and you have other passions.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
knowing,
Go ahead.
but sorry, I cut you off. Like your teammate will always like you regardless of the outcome. They might be a little mad at you at some point, but the second you get to the cafeteria or you're hanging out in school, they'll still be your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And friends for life too. I mean, the guys on my lacrosse team, like one guy was the best man at my wedding. Two others were in the wedding party. So, I mean, we're talking about friends for life here. But yeah, that next shot mentality is so key. I mean, you hear it so many times on this podcast, and it's something that you got to learn. So at what point did was the coaching regime changed in your
It changed going into my senior year of high school. So right after we signed NLIs. So it would have been probably winter of my senior year.
Got it. So you were recruited by Dom, but never actually played for him.
Yeah, never played for him.
Oh, interesting. All right. Awesome. That's got to be an interesting dynamic, right? You're like, this guy recruited me and now I'm going to play for somebody else. Did you have any, I don't know, fears about the situation?
I guess there's always a little fear. But yeah, I got brought into the St. Paul's office again by one of our coaches and kind of got told like the worst reason to choose a school for the only other reason worse than choosing a school for a girlfriend is a coach. Like you're still going to UVA, right? And I was like, yeah, like, I mean, just anything out there, like coaches change, but you chose the school for the school. And I mean, all the coaches are more than qualified. I mean, I was definitely sad that I wasn't going to have the ability to play for like one of the greats like Dom Starsia and Coach Van Arsdale. But I'm also very thankful they were the ones that gave me the ability to go to UVA and have such a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Coach Lars Tiffany's no scrub. I mean, you're Dom Starge is a legend when it comes to coaching, but you could say the same about Lars Tiffany. Had a great career at Brown, and actually talk to me a little bit about what he's like as a coach.
Lars is a good guy. Lars is definitely, I think anyone would tell you, like definitely a little bit of a different guy. He's a big thinker, but he's a great coach and he cares a lot about the game. And he's always fair. He's definitely a fair guy that tells you how it is, and had a lot of respect for that. And then, I mean, he's great. And then the two assists, it's like Kip. I know Kip's gonna kill me for saying I watched Brian Phipps growing up but Kip's one of my good buddies. I give him a call all the time, especially now that I'm out lacrosse playing. And then also Sean Kerwin's great. And then we've had two volunteers with Bo Laurie and Coop Fearson who have been good. So Lars is a really great coach and he has one of the best support staffs in my opinion. And I was lucky to play for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Kip's a great guy. I've had him on the show. He had such an interesting style of play. Like if you watch Kip's stance, like I don't know if anyone could ever replicate kind of how he did it. And I think he even mentioned when we were talking, he's like, I don't coach anybody the way that I play.
Yeah, we used to like mess with him and like put our hands out all the way to our side and like put our legs out. And we're like, does this really work? And he would get kind of it. He would laugh, but yeah, I mean, it definitely had a career.
Yeah, great career. Well, awesome. So, when you are working with Kip and kind of practicing at Virginia, what does your guys' training look like? Is it a lot of shots? Are you getting a lot of, footwork drills, hand-eye coordination drills? What does your training regimen look like?
I would say in the fall, it's a lot of drills and shots. And then spring becomes kind of like Monday, Tuesday, we'll do some drills. And then later in the week, it's mostly just getting shots, like repping out what the shooters on the other team like, if they like up the hash, down the hash, across the middle. So I would say fall, it's definitely a lot more drills and then some shots here and there by the players, like that you get in the shooter drills. And then spring, it's a lot more just doing shots. We do like daily vitamins where you'll do like basic handball drills and like some ladder. But once you get into the real practice, it's mostly shots in the spring, just keeping you kind of dialed and not changing too much.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Um, so you guys are, I mean, with the 2020 season being canceled, Virginia's back-to-back champions. You won it in 2019, season canceled, then 2021. What a run. What a run. I mean, what do you think is so special about these Virginia lacrosse teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just had some really talented players, a really good group of guys. And I mean, it's just, we also had a lot of good breaks. You don't win any of those championships without a break here and there, a fortunate situation. There's so many good teams. I mean, we were really tight knit. We definitely had faced adversity early on, and we got really tight knit. And 2019, it felt like we had a chance to win. I mean, if you asked me early on in the 2021 season, I don't think we would have. That would have been my comment, but I just think like we had some really talented players. You need that. You can't win without talent, and then you need some luck and you need some mojo to start going your way. And once you get that feeling, you have the ability to make a run. It's one of those things. It's kind of unspeakable. It's like you don't really know it. You don't really can't force it until it starts to appear on the field.
Yeah. And you need to be anchored by a great goalie. And you, my man, are that. You, my man, are that. And I know you're too humble to say it, but yeah, I mean, you need some great goaltending in there. And it seems like you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like as the season went on, especially in the tournament, your goaltending got better. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I guess maybe a little. I mean, it's easy to play goalie on a team that can put up 18 goals, but maybe I mean it's more like I think for everyone when the tournament gets going, the longer it gets, the more like fun it gets. Like the pressure starts to amount a little bit, but you're kind of like knowing like you just gotta go out there and try your best. But I think everyone's play elevates a little bit in the tournament because it's just because more fun. You're at the biggest stage. Like it's hard not to enjoy that and want to be at your best on that stage. I think anyone would say that in any sporting arena or play.
Yeah. I was going to talk about being on that big stage. I guess, when you get to the finals this year, you've been there before. You've done it. So you might not feel the same level of pressure, whereas goalies who, are there for the first time and experiencing all that for the first time do. Did you still get those pregame jitters?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely got the pregame jitters. I mean, it just means you care. But yeah, maybe it was a little more cool and calm. I mean, the first year definitely was pretty nerve wracking, but yeah, I think everyone gets nervous in those situations. I mean, no one wants to be the guy that blows it for his team, but definitely calm. I guess it's just kind of keeping a routine. Like if all season you were taking like a run the night before the game, I know in 2019, like I would go on runs like the nights before games, like during the year. But then this year I was injured a couple times. I got COVID, so I was in quarantine, so I couldn't really run as much. So I was like other stuff, like so just like having a little like ritual and doing your things in the mornings before the games, just kind of do that stuff to keep you cool, calm. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone gets nervous. To say that not nervous and calm would be kind of just a lie.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I don't know how you were, but I like that carried into the game until I got my first touch or my first save. Is that kind of your feeling as well?
Yeah, I mean, some days you're gonna have a bad warm up too, and that just makes it worse. Or so, yeah. Once you get in there, I mean, it could even be like a first clearing pass or like a face
Right.
off going. Once there's any momentum going to your team, you're like, oh, okay, I can do my part to help for the overall goal.
Yeah, love it. I have some tape of the championship game. Could I share it and we can kind of talk through some plays here?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Give me a second. I'm gonna share my screen. Here. All right. I can bring up my notes. All right. 138. Let me just let the play run. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't think I shared the audio. Could you hear that? The crowd noise?
The audio, I
Okay.
can see.
Yeah, hang on a second. This is beautiful podcasting for those just listening on the audio. All right, there we go. Oh, darn it. Now I closed the, hang on a second. Okay. All right.
A chance to apologize.
Oh. Hang on. Sorry.
Oh, good.
Bubba Fairman absorbing the contact. The save by Alex Rode. A rebound by Bernhardt turned away.
Yeah. So this first save. I mean, by the way, do you remember these plays?
Yeah, I remember most of them.
Yeah. Talk us through kind of what you're seeing right here.
So here, I guess what I saw was when Bubba put his stick up that high. He was kind of notorious to get low, and he was kind of straight over. I didn't even move fully down. I just tried getting down with him a little bit, and it happened to just get me right in like the chest area when I got down, because he was just jumping so high that from what we see on the film, and I'm not a massive film guy, I kind of reacted a little bit low with him.
That's interesting. Yeah. First of all, this shot, like I really like when they play on football fields, so I could see like exactly how far away he is. But he's out there. He's 13, 14 yards away.
Yeah,
Something like that. And he's moving away from the goal. So as defenses, like this is the shot you want to give up, right? And you're saying so he jumps up and you kind of see it. I mean, it comes,
heading low. I mean, with most kids that play at this level with the whip in their stick these days, if a release is coming from that high, it's probably not going to go anywhere above your shoulders.
I see. Yeah. So it's going to come in kind of waist level.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And boom, just kind of drop your level. And I think it catches you square in the chest pad, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Nice. And then I love how you get right back into it because there's a rebound right on the doorstep. Twarton award winner right here picks it up, throws it in. I think the defense actually deflects that one, but I love that play.
Dad.
Yeah. 206 is going to be the
best in these big games, better than 60% in his last 5 NCAA tournament games.
So this was what I was talking about. I mean, 5 tournament games. I don't know what you ended the year at save percentage wise and goals against average wise. But I'm going to go ahead and assume it was not, it was a little bit lower than this. So like you really stepped it up in these tournament games. That's why I was asking if you kind of felt that.
Yeah, I was definitely playing a little better. And I mean, I just think it like correlated. It's like such a standard answer, but it was just so fun to play in these games. And I mean, everyone plays their best lacrosse when they're having fun. And I mean, it's kind of, the season's coming to an end. It's not like the dog days of the middle of the season. So why not like give it your all, which is sad to say like to younger viewers, because obviously give it your all every time. But I mean, you're going home. So, and you're having fun. So definitely I probably just elevate a little bit based on that, hopefully. And our defense was also picking it up. So the defense is playing so strong that I was just seeing shots that I wanted to see and I hoped I could save.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point about having fun. And it's also a great point about it's your senior season, right? I mean, this is your last ride. So, there's no other time in your life where you're going to have this type of experience with this group of guys. So enjoy it, have fun, embrace it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a save here? There is. Let's watch this.
This kid is broken out of his shell off the field. He's continued to develop on it.
By the way, one of my big pet peeves on these announcers, and not just these guys, announcers in general, is when there's a save and they don't mention anything. They don't say anything, right? Because this is a save, right? I mean, the footage we have here is not terrific, but I'm pretty sure you get a piece of that ball.
Yeah, I think it hits me right in the foot, and then Salad makes a great play running it out. A guy doesn't notice, and Salad goes.
Yeah, so talk to me about this play. So you got Bernhardt kind of driving from around X, he gets like a little bit of a step on the defender right here. And then swings around and go ahead.
He just drops his hands a lot, and I go low with him. It's actually ironic because he does the same thing later in the game and beats me high. So, but he drops his hands, and it looks like he's not going to be able to pull that up. And I just kind of get low, put a foot out, and try to get my stick down there. I'm a little back on my balls and my feet a little much, kind of falling a little backwards. Should have had more aggressive move there, but lucky enough to get a piece of my foot on it. And, just try to read those things to the best of your ability. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, but later in the game, he does the same thing and whips it high on a pretty good shot. So definitely using your instincts, but can bite you sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why that's why he won the Twarrington. Like, if you can come around and sting it low to high from that close, hats off to you. Hats off to you. You know what I mean? Like, as a goalies, when he drops the hands right here, and especially you can see like right here, your defender is kind of like coming down on his hand. This shot's going low, and we have to anticipate that every single time. And like I said, if he then stings it top corner, hats off to you.
Yeah, he's a special player. They had this team probably had the best shooters we played all year. Actually, probably had played in a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. 419.
Comes Bernhardt. This one turned away.
Nice save. Just a little kick save and a beauty, huh? So, and it's kind of the same kind of a replay where Bernhardt's coming from X, drives around, and talk us through this one.
Yeah, so they'd been getting me high a little bit, getting those upper corners. So I was standing pretty tall at this point. I was definitely having a little questioning during this game. And I see it come out, and I just try to make a big step as hard as I can. It just gets me right in the shin.
Sometimes when shooters shoot like off the hip of a defender, kind of like that, or even off like the calf or off the leg, it's tough to pick up. Was that the case here? Like, did you not get the release right away, or did you see it right out of the stick?
I saw it a little late. I probably should have been hedging my head a little bit, knowing it was getting screened, and he just shot it a little bit more surprised, and I was able to get a step in and get to it barely at the last second.
Yeah. Well, the defenders here is kind of blocking that, but yeah, I mean, you can see kind of the great step, and that's kind of where the save is made, is that back foot driving to make that save there. Awesome. 504.
Field line, perhaps more from deciding the champion. Griffin Brown, saved by Rode, using the body. He covers it up.
Nice save. So in this one, I don't know who this is on Maryland, but again, driving from X, he gets to 5-5 and kind of pivots around. Really a nice move by this guy, because by the time he shoots, like, he's pretty much wide open. But look at that positioning, right? We talk about positioning for lacrosse goalies. Like, you want to be in the center of the cage from the shooter's perspective. And that's kind of exactly where you are. So, half of your battle is being in the right positioning, but talk us through this play if you could.
Yeah, I was positioned pretty well. Me and Kip Turner's been talking throughout the game. They were kind of getting me on some. So we were like, if they're going high, like, just try to get it low, like, because they were slipping through. So I just kind of threw it all low to that offside. And luckily it got under my left body. It landed right in front of me, because they were, it seemed like there had to be a trend besides a few of the Bernhardts. When they were dropping low, they were going high. And when they were up high, they were going low. So I just started trying to get my body down to it. And I got, luckily, my kind of bad form, my hands didn't go as much as they should, but I got it up in my right leg.
Yeah, I was going to say, where did this hit you?
Hit me right in that right thigh area that was on the ground, and it landed like right in the middle of my body.
I bet that left a beauty of a bruise, huh?
It probably did for a little bit.
While we're on that, do you have like a least favorite spot to get hit, like bicep or calf or inner thigh or something like that?
Like inner thigh when you're stepping, when like the fat gets pushed back a little bit, like where it's not that muscular. I think that's pretty miserable, but yeah, I don't love that. That'd probably be my least favorite spot.
Yeah, and it goes in.
Yeah, it goes through, so it's
yeah. The other thing that's, real athletic play here that's not kind of talked about. I mean, you're now like the way you end up, you're sitting on your butt and you essentially scoop that thing with one hand. I mean, is that something you've practiced?
I don't know if it's something I practice. I do like coaching in the summers and growing up. I do screw around with like short sticks a lot and just have fun playing catch with kids and stuff. So that might just be something of playing lacrosse a lot. I think with like younger goalies, that's like a huge thing. It's just to have a short stick with your goalie stick, like always be playing catch and like try to improve both hands, enjoying the game, maybe not outside the goalie position.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, I agree. Like that's not something maybe you practice. It's just something that comes with your lacrosse IQ and playing so much of the game and screwing around with your buddies. But yeah, I mean, that ball could roll out of the crease and, here comes the Maryland guy kind of maybe right there. He might do a different effort if he doesn't see you scoop it up. So it's a big play. All right. Let's check out this one. And by the way, this is kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier, how kind of your sticks angled a little bit forward, but still like not out Kip Turner style, locked arms, but like athletic, but just a little bit, little bit out.
Sniauskas has had the hot hand.
Actually, I don't know if that was a save or if he missed the goal. Do you remember?
I think that one missed.
Okay.
That barely missed over because I went kind of low with him and he went over my shoulder and he just missed.
Ooh, yeah, just missed. And then of course we have the final play. I mean, this game was amazing. By the way, like it was just an amazing game. I mean, high scoring game. So, I mean, what is it like for you as a goalie, to give up 16 goals? Cause that could be tough for some goalies getting scored on quite a bit. Were there points at this game where you were kind of like doubting yourself, or are you just in the flow of the game and enjoying it and making the saves throughout it and kind of making some big saves? But what's your feeling leading up to this point?
Yeah, I usually like these kind of high scoring games, but this one I was definitely doubting myself a little bit. I don't know if it was necessarily doubt or just knew I wasn't playing where I should be playing to win the national. And luckily my team was just playing so great around me that I just needed to make one more save, just needed to make one more, or like anyone could help. Yeah, definitely had a little doubt at some points in this game. I mean, just wasn't at my best day, and to not have that in the national championship is definitely not ideal. But I mean, just knowing your team has your back, like they'll get you one back, just like you hope you could get them one back.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the beauty of the goalie position too, is, it's 17-16. So I've given up 17 or 16 goals, but I know that like all I need to do is make this next save and we win. Right. And that's the mentality I think that we need to have as goalies. And that's what makes this position so great. Even if you've given up 16 goals and made one save, if you can get that next one, you can be the hero. What would Coach Lars Tiffany be saying to us in the huddle at this point? Pure X's and O's, or is it more inspirational?
It's probably a mixture. I'm sure he is putting certain guys out there at the face-off X. I'm not always in those huddles because Kip keeps me warm, giving me shots. So I would totally know, but I would think it's more just boys, let's get it done. We know we can do it. But he definitely had some strategy to this. And yeah, at this point, I mean, probably earlier, 3 minutes left, there was definitely strategy, changing some stuff up. But at this point, I think it was let's hope Petey wins the face-off and puts this thing away.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting comment that you're not in those huddles. I didn't even realize that. And now that I'm thinking back to my collegiate career, I don't know if I was getting warmed up during the thing, but yeah, I mean, we would a lot of times do 2 team huddles, like a defensive one and an offensive one. But you were saying that Kip is actually kind of just working with you on the side, keeping you warm in these breaks.
Yeah, because I'm definitely a goalie that likes a lot of shots, and I can definitely find a way out of it if there's not a lot. So what we had Kip did starting my sophomore year was and it got less and less as long as the games go because you didn't want to get tired. But you just do little passes back and forth, little shots, nothing hard, just to keep in it, keep your head in it.
Yeah.
We actually stole it from Notre Dame, to be dead honest. They do it. It works.
Hey, I've stolen all my coaching from everyone. I don't think I've had maybe one original idea in 15 years, but that's what great coaches do. Just blend it together and create your own style.
Yeah.
So what? Go ahead.
And the face-off guys do it too. Actually, they do face-offs to stay out of the huddle, so it works. What were you saying? Sorry.
No worries. I was wondering what was going through your head right now at this point in the game. 10 seconds left. Are you thinking, oh, PD wins this face-off, or are you thinking, I'm going to make a big save?
I'm thinking I hope PD wins this face-off, but I'm hoping if they do get a shot, I'll make the save. But definitely, I mean, I'm definitely honest. I mean, it's national championship with 10 seconds left. You never want to leave anything up to fate, even if it means you can make the play.
Yeah. Let's check out this play.
Saladay on the near side wing for Virginia. Jared Connors and Jared Bernhardt. The presumptive Tewaaraton winner and the midfielder of the year at the top of your screen. Weirman punches it ahead. A chance for Maryland. Weirman all the way. Shoots. Save Road.
Oh, man. I love that play so much. It's unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, so he ends up winning the faceoff clean, the Maryland guy, which is unbelievable. So here you see this Maryland guy just sprinting with a full head of steam, and you have to think he's going to shoot it, right?
Yeah, because we had I think we all messed up and actually thought Bernhardt was on attack, and the whole plan the whole time was we didn't want to slide off him. Later, did the whole defense find out that it wasn't Bernhardt, I guess, or at least I thought it was. They might do, but yeah, I could tell that top guy wasn't going to pop off, so I thought he probably going to get inside and shoot.
Yeah, and he comes in and he rips one pretty close. I mean, that's, again, I can't tell where, but I mean, that's like probably 8 yards, maybe 9.
Yeah, probably.
What were we gonna say?
Yeah, probably. I would say, yeah.
Oh, probably. Yeah. And I mean, great positioning, right? I mean, a lot of times people debate like, well, does the goalie get credit for that save? This is a lacrosse goalie podcast. We're giving credit to every single save that a goalie makes, because a lot of times it's just about that positioning of being in the right place at the right time. And you do drop your level. I mean, that's kind of a save you've been making throughout this game. Just drop the level and boom, hit you square in the chest. What else would you say about this play?
Yeah, I just think I was lucky enough. I was staying tall kind of the last second. Kind of could see he was going kind of low. Usually most face-off guys do. And I dropped my level just a little bit, didn't drop it a ton. Luckily, it just hit me pretty much square in the chest to the right shoulder area. And it got a pretty dangerous bounce. And luckily, Cole Castor and other guys cleaned it up.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So you are kind of reading his body language. Like, he's close enough where you do kind of have to read his body language and anticipate a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely do a little bit when they're getting that close and has steam a tad. And then like where the stick's going, knowing I mean, with certain shooters like a Bernhardt or a Jake Caraway of the world, it's a little less instinctive and a little like more reactive. But with a face-off guy coming down, there's definitely a little more high percentage basing off your instincts. Not saying it's a perfect theory, but definitely can help you in a pinch.
Yep. Well, that's what I was talking about. I mean, that was the save. And then, like you said, the guy your defender grabs the rebound, sprints out of there and just Gilman's it down. National champs, unbelievable. And again, maybe it wasn't your best game stats wise, but all you got to do is make that final save, and boom, national champion. For people who have never experienced the thrill of a national championship, let alone the thrill of a walk-off save, how do you describe it?
It's pretty special. I mean, it's just something very cool to be a part of, like being with all your friends, hugging and having fun. It was definitely special, and like just really felt very fortunate about it afterwards, especially coming out, being the second. Like very few people, a lot of players better than me, a lot of goalies better than me, never win one, and it was really cool experience. You just feel very thankful about your whole career, especially since it was my last game. And I mean, it just was a really amazing feeling that it just was kind of indescribable, but it's just realizing how long lacrosse has been going on and how great of players have been through the game, and to have this experience twice was just very lucky and fortunate. It was just made me feel so happy to be a part of the UVA program and bring another championship back to Charlottesville.
Love it. Love it. Well, congratulations, my man. That's an amazing accomplishment. And I remember watching this game, and I'm living in Argentina at the moment, so I'm watching it on my computer, and just like yelling, like, no way. And my wife is just like, what is going on? Because first of all, I yelled right here because at the face off, because really, like, all he has to do is not give up a fast break, right? And that's, I mean, that's it. That's the game. And there is a fast break. So I'm like, oh, no way. I couldn't believe that. And then he's marching down full head of steam, rips it, and there's a save. And I was, man, what an ending. What an ending. Well, thank you for going through that. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. That got me pumped up. That got me pumped up. So what are you doing these days, Alex? You coaching?
Yeah, I coached down Charleston, South Carolina. The last 2 summers I was living down here. I was coaching and working on charter sailboats, day trips on big boats for like 3 different boats for a company called Aqua Safaris Incorporated. And now I'm not doing the sailing much anymore unless I'll pick up a shift here and there. And I'm looking for a desk job. But I'll coach down here as long as I live down here.
Awesome.
I coach a club called Loggerheads out of Daniels Island.
Loggerheads down at Daniels Island. And if people are in the Charlottesville area, they can hit you up for coaching?
Charleston area, but yes.
Charleston. There you go. Well, I'm a West Coast guy, so, you know. Cool. Where should they do that? Or do you do the social media? Should I link up your email? How should they do that?
You can link up my email. That's perfectly fine. You can link up my email, or
Okay.
if they want to reach out to, my email, link that up, or if they're down and they want to reach out to Loggerheads Lacrosse Club, Tom will send them my stuff. But yeah, my email is perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Alex, like I said, thank you so much for coming on the show, talking through kind of your experience and the saves in the championship game. If you had to leave the goalies out there with one last piece of advice, what would that be?
Just enjoy it and enjoy where the game will bring you. I went a lot of cool places. Never went to UVA without lacrosse. It probably would ever ended up moving down Charleston. So just enjoy the game, and it'll bring you lifelong friends, and you'll make connections all over the place. So it's a very special game, and it brings a lot of special things.
Love it. Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be a part of this.